What's up, everybody? So you guys know who we are. So let's start this review. Um, so I thought Death of a Unicorn. Well, I'll start with the positive. I thought Will Poulter was great. He was a scene stealer. He was very funny. He was witty. His stuff with Anthony Corrigan, I thought was great. They had just the chemistry they had when for example, when Will's in the hot tub and he's screaming for him to come out to get swimwear for Paul Rudd's character. It was pretty funny. Then the scene with him saying I have kids and the whole family gets up saying you do, and it's just stuff like that was really funny. And the stuff where he's snorting snorting the unicorn's horn, and then he's getting smart because he saw the universe that way, universe, and it was pretty hilarious. You can tell he was just having a ridiculously fun time. I also thought Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd were good as well. I thought the chemistry between the two of them as father and daughter were pretty good. I can't really complain. They just seem to work well. Okay, I guess yeah. Well, Paul Rudd wasn't really like funny. Funny. There was a moment in the beginning where like Jenna's character, who plays a character named Ridley, was seeing the universe by holding the unicorn's horn, and she got woken up by it when she saw her dad or Paul just smashing it in the face to kill it some more. And it was a pretty funny scene. I thought they were okay. I thought Richard E. Grant was fine. I thought Tia Leone, who played the wife of Richard E. Grant's character, Odell, I thought they were pretty good too. I mean, the cast was fine. I had no issues with the cast at all. I thought they gave you a performance that the director was looking for. Unfortunately, I guess the negatives I had this movie was that it had an identity crisis. I don't know if it was trying to be satire or trying to be too serious. It got some chuckles and some funny moments. It just felt like the writing was all over the place because I wasn't expecting this to be taken seriously. I mean, it's Killer Unicorns. I mean, I don't know how you would want to take something that seriously. Just tell a fun movie, kind of like a Cocaine Bear. We know how ridiculous it is, but we know what we're getting into. Just be that, and instead of try to be really more drama, serious. Pharmaceuticals are evil. Look what they're doing. They get this unicorn, and they're trying to discover, how to cure cancer and some other crazy stuff out of it. It just, while trying to be funny at the same time, it just, I don't know, it just didn't really work for me at all. So the trailers for me really made me think I was going to get something that's ridiculously funny, but then I get something that's more just a drama, serious with some funny or chuckles sprinkled through it throughout the movie. The pacing was pretty long as well. For me, it just felt like it just didn't know how to end this thing at all. So my score for this was a 4 out of 10.
Okay. All right. Death of a Unicorn. More like death of my fucking brain cells. Today, though, I feel a sense of pride. To quote the magnificent Captain Raymond Holt when it came to his magnificent balloon arch, vindication. On December 18th, 2024, a trailer dropped for this movie. I watched it and I thought, wow, this looks like a steaming pile of shit. When I voiced these concerns to friends of mine, they were like, no, it looks funny. And with that, I thought to myself, maybe I'm missing something. But to me, it looks like if the MCU made a horror movie. Having Paul Rudd, Richard E. Grant, Will Poulter, and even Jenna Ortega in there did not help with this comparison. Welp, look who was fucking right. But let's get into the real nitty gritty of this pile of unicorn dung. The acting from everyone involved was obnoxious and eye rolling. I understand that this was intended, at least I think, to be an over exaggerated / absurdist tone, but some of the performances were really pushing it, especially when something as good as Mickey 17 had a much better balance of absurdist tones and their performances. Paul Rudd is horrendously unlikable as a horrendously unlikable character, pretty much saying and doing every single solitary wrong thing in regards to kowtowing towards his rich bosses rather than his own kid. To the point when that inevitable we're about to die and I'm sorry trope enters the picture, it feels completely unearned and pathetically inserted. only there because the plot demands it. Jenna Ortega is absolutely sleeping through her performance and could not give a solitary fuck what happens at all through this entire movie. Bitch probably took fucking Xanax before every take of this goddamn movie because it certainly looked and sounded like it. Richard E. Grant, Tia Leone, and Will Poulter are all equally stupid, absurd, and horribly unfunny, despite being three damn good actors. I know what they were trying to do with the over-the-top, greedy rich people unaware of the things surrounding them. And again, after Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette essentially doing the same performance but a million times better, this just fell flat in many areas. With that, I blame the direction and writing because they all have shown to be good in over-the-top performances in the past. Will Poulter had some moments, but for the most part, I found him to be too obnoxious. Anthony Carrigan, I feel, is the only person attempting to give a fraction of a singular fuck because everything with him was genuinely great and close to being actually funny. Jessica Hines, Suni Tamani, and Steve Park round out the supporting cast, and they all do reasonably okay. However, all the characters were unbearably annoying that I just wanted this movie to end with a massive fucking genocide. This film was also absolutely horribly paced. This movie never feels like it gets going until like the third act. It felt like the entire movie was set up for something to happen, and then it does with like 30 minutes left of the movie. This movie was less than 2 hours, yet it felt like three. It was one of the most boring movies I have seen all year. I feel like I owe Wolfman a fucking apology. At least that movie tried to have some sort of intrigue and depth. It failed miserably, but it was there. I feel like there was no attempt here. It was just things happening the movie. It was reasonably edited, but at times it felt really clunky and jarring, going from one plot point to the next. I would also like to say, fuck the douchebag or douchebags who decided to get rid of John Carpenter's score for this Tangerine Dream from Timu crap. Congratulations, guys. The new fuck nugget composers here managed to find a way to make 80 synth sound boring, as well as being incredibly out of place wherever it is used. Way to fucking go. You got rid of a legend and got shit. Would you look at that? The consequences of my own actions. The gore was laughably bad. It looks like this was filmed for PG-13, and then they decided at the last minute, oh, wait, let's make it R-rated. Inserted some shitty gore shots, and there you go, R-rated. It was either poorly lit, where you can barely tell the violence going on, or bad CGI. Speaking of, the CGI is also horrendous and hilarious. The CGI unicorns are so fucking poorly created and poorly done, I couldn't help but laugh when I saw them for the first time. You can even see that they fucking use CGI muzzle flashes on the guns. It screamed cheap and I was amazed they got away with CGI this bad, but it certainly adds to the Marvel horror movie comparison with its bad CGI. Also, the jump scares were annoying as fucking hell. I thought we were fucking past this shitty Paranormal Activity time in horror where everything had to have a plethora of unneeded jump scares that aren't scary. Guess not, because, well, we got this shit. Now we get to the story, which was boring as fuck. It feels like there is no fucking plot to this movie. As I said, just things happening. It goes through the motions of what it's supposed to be, and we're supposed to down it like a bottle of chocolate milk. Well, fuck that. I ain't doing that for this pile of shit. The movie was filled to the brim with tired tropes and cliches, and this wouldn't have been bad if the rest of the movie had been in any way fucking engaging at all, but it isn't. So these cliches are more noticeable and eye-rolling because of this. Liar revealed, shitty parent and child relationship that is magically cured by the end of the movie, the fake out that leads to death, twice I might add, one-dimensional bully, and God knows how many others. The fucking satire in this movie was so fucking one note that I honestly might go back and increase my score for Mickey 17 because of how that movie actually manages to achieve everything this piece of shit fucking tries to. Hey, guys, did you know that corporations are evil? Wow. Crazy. With the world we're living in today, never could have fucking figured that one out. Are you actually going to do anything interesting with that? No. Cool. I'm just going to go watch Alien again, since that movie did an evil corporation trying to use a creature for their own nefarious purposes done right. It also has something to say about the bastardization of modern fairy tales, which, like, cool, I guess. But, like, every person who goes through the I hate Disney princess movies phase during puberty already fucking knows that. So I don't know why we need an entire fucking movie about it, especially when you have a writer that handles those themes so fucking poorly. So, what is this movie? Because I simply don't know what it's trying to do. Is it a horror movie? Because it's not scary. Is it a comedy? Because it's not funny. Is it a drama? Because it's not engaging. Is it a mystery? Because it's not intriguing. It fails pretty much every genre it attempts at, with its shitty characters, poor pacing, mediocre music, boring story, one-note satire and themes, laughably bad gore and CGI, horrid predictability, stupid jump scares, and eye-rolling cliches. Pretty much every aspect of this movie has been done in way better movies, and it makes me want to watch and appreciate them even more than I already do. If I had anything nice to say, there were a couple nose exhales at some stupid moments, Anthony Carrigan trying, and maybe a memorable scene once in a while. And what little use of practicals were fine, and the third act was kind of fun. Don't watch this movie. Please go see anything else at the theater out right now. Fuck it. I would probably watch Snow White and a Minecraft movie back to back before ever watching this dreck again. The fucking 1-minute teaser for the Naked Gun reboot was funnier and more engaging than this entire movie was. To all the talented people in this production, please fire your agents, because you frankly deserve better than a bastardized, shitty remake of Alien with unicorns and one-note satire. With that, I give this movie a 2.5 out of 10.
Don't look at me. You're next.
Okay. All right.
Mark
So
always goes to last.
yeah, Mark always goes last. I'm sorry I had to wait until you pulled up John's score before I went. So all right. Let me go ahead and pull up my review. God damn it. Okay, here we go. So, Death of a Unicorn. When I first heard about this movie, I thought the idea just kind of sounded stupid and all. But I kept thinking, the optimistic side of me kept thinking, well, maybe it could be stupid fun. Maybe it could be something like Cocaine Bear, you know? In fact, I think the first time I heard about this is when we were deciding which movies to review for 2025, you know, to put on the schedule. So, but and then the trailer dropped and my expectations started to drop as well. So it looked stupid, but since we at the time all agreed to, I figured, well, I mean, maybe it will be, maybe it will be something like Cocaine Bear, where it will be like it has a stupid idea, but it has fun with itself. I went in going thinking maybe it will be like something that's kind of so bad it's enjoyable, you know. But unfortunately, that's not what I got. Instead, I got a movie that's so bad it's bad. Where now for the positives, there's really not a whole lot. I guess the acting, the performances were fine enough. So I mean, the actors did the best for what they were given. I mean, I can't do the same thing for how the characters were written, and don't worry, we'll get to that shit later. But I can at least say that everyone at least tried with what they were. And so that's like the only kind of, first of all, I agree with Rome. This movie has a massive identity crisis. First of all, it doesn't know if it wants to be a silly movie about a killer unicorn, or if it wants to be like a serious, dark kind of tale that needs to be taken seriously, you know? And it just seems like and also the messaging was really, the themes and messaging, the themes, I know, was really weird. it honestly keep going on this tangent about it having an identity crisis. It didn't know if it wanted to have like some kind of supernatural pseudo element put into it with unicorns being passed down, or if it wants to be an anti-drug PSA, because it seems like the first half focuses on the mythology of these unicorns, of these creatures, and how this kind of curse was passed down through different people through a tapestry. But then by the second half, you pretty much have Will Poulter just snorting bunch of snorting part of the unicorn horn like it's cocaine, and just seeing visions of life. It doesn't know what kind of movie it wants to be or what kind of message it's trying to say. The pacing was a big slog to get through. There were multiple times I just remember I felt really bored watching it, and it's just one of those, oh, come on, can we just get a move along? I'm getting tired of this. The CGI was atrocious. I understand that this movie had a very low budget, but if Godzilla Minus One taught us anything, is that you can have the visuals look amazing and have like a minuscule budget. So that's honestly not really much of an excuse. The editing was a little too quick, too choppy, and with kind of like with what John said, this feels like a movie that was originally supposed to be PG-13, but then at the last minute they turn it into an R movie, which they throw in maybe a few gory scenes and some F-bombs, just to make it rated R. But you can tell that it was changed at the last minute. And like I said, a lot of the kills, they really weren't convincing because a lot of the editing was too choppy, and not to mention a lot of the kills happened at night where it was a little too hard to make out. So it was a little too hard to make out. However, if I had to point to my biggest issue, it's pretty much on how the characters are. I hated every character in this movie. All of them were just so unlikable, and I didn't give a shit about any single one of them. I wouldn't even care if any of them died. And I honestly hated Paul Rudd's character so much that every time he was on screen, I wanted to just go right up to the screen and punch it every time I saw his face, because that's how much I hated him. Even when they tried to redeem him by saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry," at the end, I'm sorry, I wasn't there, blah, 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 blah. The damage is already done. I'm sorry, the damage is already done, and that doesn't make up for how unlikable he was in the first two acts of the movie. And then they try to throw in this whole redemption, how I'm sorry I wasn't there. Fuck you. Oh, and did I mention that he is a massive moron? There's a scene at the beginning of the movie, he runs over a unicorn, and then he decides, instead of just tossing the carcass into somewhere in the woods or in a ditch or something, he decides, nah, let's go and put it in the back of the trunk, because nothing bad will happen if that happens, Let's make sure that people can clearly tell you have something hidden in the back of your car. Oh my God. But overall, this movie is just a massive waste of time. So if you think this is a movie that will be entertainingly bad, think again. We aren't even halfway through the year yet, and so far, I could declare this the worst film I've seen so far this year. And I'm with John. I would gladly watch Wolfman again. Hell, I would rather watch Captain America: Brave New World again than watch this shit. So, and with that, my score is a 2 out of 10.
I don't know what these movies. I don't know. The Critics have absolutely excoriated this film, and my friends, as you can tell, feel largely the same way. The themes are said to be muddy, the performance is lifeless, the CGI painfully bad, and the writing lackluster. I figured this would be a fun ride from the moment I saw the trailer. From the moment I first saw the trailer, but such negative reactions planted a seed of doubt nevertheless. However, I soldiered on, fearlessly determined to watch it anyway and judge it for myself, and alas, my patience was rewarded. Honestly, I really don't know what film this guy's watched, but while it's far from the best film I've seen, it's also far from the worst. What I saw was a refreshingly original film with a fairly light and campy tone, despite some predictability and errors of execution. But hell, if I wanted if I want predictability, I can look. If I want predictability and shallow themes, I can look at almost any given comic book film. So I mean, let's face it, the last original comic book film was Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I stand by that. Anyway, Jenna Ortega's character is indeed one note, your standard bratty teenage girl with an attitude, but that is kind of the point, as she represents the pure-hearted girl from so many fairy tales, a la Snow White, but it's with the difference that they actually try to do something interesting with it here. Paul Rudd is indeed unlikable, at least at first, but again, that is kind of the point, as he has allowed his quest for wealth and career advancement to overshadow his emotional connection to his daughter and his attentiveness, or rather the lack thereof, to her needs. This is how character development is done. You're supposed to make him unlikable. There's supposed to be conflict between them. He's supposed to be unlikable at first, and then he learns his lesson by the end. Given the fact that he was literally fucking stabbed to death by to save his daughter, I'd say redeemed himself by the end. I mean, he was a bit of an attentive asshole, but I mean, I've seen worse as far as unlikability. The CGI is indeed quirky at points, is indeed wonky at points, but for the most part, it's just fine, at least to my untrained eye, which admittedly isn't the best when it comes to judging such things. Then again, however, the same is true of most moviegoers, so unless you're a stickler for such things, it should hardly ruin your enjoyment. The story isn't the deepest, but once again, that is kind of the point, as this is a satirical take on modern-day fairy tales, even a throwback of sorts to the dark tales of Hans Christian Andersen and the Brothers Grimm. Therefore, I didn't find the themes muddied in the slightest, centering as they did on the dangers of commodifying the wonders of nature on the one hand, for profit on the one hand, and the relationship between father and daughter on the other. It's not a perfect film, of course. Anthony Carrigan is sadly wasted, given precious little to do. And though he is still solid, so is Richard E. Grant as the CEO and scion of the family Odell. I can't say I found the humor uproariously funny, but I did find it amusing enough to make me crack or smile or two here and there, even a good chuckle now and then. It may not sound like a ringing endorsement, but it was good enough to hold my attention for the most part and keep me invested, at least. The real MVP of this film is Will Poulter as a spoiled heir, Shepard, who literally snorts powdered unicorn as if it were cocaine, as has been said. I found it fucking hilarious, honestly. That was the best scene in the film for me. As he said, for science. But he steals the show single-handedly, hardly a surprise to anyone aware of his considerable talents in front of the camera. T.L. Leone also deserves an honorable mention as his mother, the very bourgeois Belinda. However, overall, I found this to be a rather humorous take on the classic fairy tale that, like the baby unicorn in the film, has become so twisted and bastardized from its original form by the forces of commercialism that it is hardly recognizable anymore. This film may not please everyone, but it certainly pleased me, and at the end of the day, that is the only basis on which I can rightfully judge it. So my score is a very strong 7.5 out of 10. I rather enjoyed it. So,
I really wanted to enjoy this, but it was just really tough to get through some of the.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure what this movie was trying to be.
I mean, to me, it was pretty clear it was a satirical take on fairy tales. I mean, and as far as the need for it, you literally have a fairy tale coming out. Hollywood films are always doing this shit. I'm just glad that rather than coming out with another fairy tale, they come up with a satirical take on a fairy tale. So I mean, it made sense to me. But go ahead, sorry, John.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything. I just sorry, I just had to do something real quick and then came back. Yeah, this movie sucked.
I mean, I could say maybe the dry sense of humor because there was a lot of dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. Like,
Yeah, it
wasn't
was.
working for me.
And humor is very subjective, like we've said
Yeah.
before. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
so-
that was another thing I forgot to mention. Is just like how I don't remember laughing at this. So even though I know it's supposed to be like a dark comedy kind of thing, but it's like, but
I found it pretty funny,
you do.
especially Will Poulter, Tia Leone. You know, I found them all pretty funny.
Well, to each his own.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, what sold me about this movie was Paul Rudd, Jenny Ortega, and we have Paul Rudd. I was expecting him to be funny. Other than that opening scene of him like smashing the unicorn, I didn't really see much. Not so much like comedy I'm used to seeing him, just more dry sense of humor. Like I get his story arc where he was like, you know, I'm gonna be the next CEO for this pharmaceutical company. I gotta do all these terrible things, even though it's wrong, just because that's what I gotta do, you know. And some of the stuff that he was doing was
You could possibly say he was just following orders. No, okay.
yeah, I think I was like the first one to see this, and then after I saw it, I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be alone on this. That
I was
that I did.
I was
But
gonna say,
you were the one that was on the island after all.
I'm fine with it. I'm
Hey,
hell, I'm used to it.
Hey, I'm glad you liked it, Mark. I wish we
I
did.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
what
I'm fine with
can
it.
you do?
I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. So I mean, yeah.
I was hoping to like it, like
Exactly.
how Mark, the way
I
Mark.
mean,
said he liked it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I mean that I was gonna say. Then again, a lot of us found Hundreds of Beavers to be funny, and I know that wasn't really your cup of tea. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
But I do like the idea of like the unicorn's blood is like I'm gonna say cure for cancer, but it just does it has a lot of healing factors. It makes you smarter if you snort it, like stuff that was funny, but also okay, I see where they're going here.
I mean, I
Yeah,
could
good
kind of see,
concept.
that. I mean, if unicorns did exist, I would assume there'd be some kind of like their blood would consider like some kind of mystical healing factor, you know? Some kind of-
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Because they want to, you know, of course, try to commodify that. You know, turn it into a profit. So,
Yeah.
but
John, you
Wait,
said you mentioned this movie took like inspiration from like Alien. Aliens
Yeah.
or something
Yeah,
like that.
it definitely felt like Alien to me. Like, you know, people want to take advantage of a creature for their own planned sensibilities and fuck everybody else. We have to get like, you know, treating like the blue collar people like shit and they're, you know, expendable, and then you know, like that kind of thing. Like it has like a lot of those notes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's like the exact same movie, but it's just interesting how it's very similar.
I was thinking like it kind of reminded me of like a Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, like
A little bit.
story or something.
Hmm.
Was there any favorite scenes you guys enjoyed or something that stood out? I mean, outside of Will Poulter and Anthony.
I like Tia Leone. I thought Tia Leone was really good.
Yeah, I agree. She was good
yeah.
too.
Yeah, she's really good. Richard E. Grant was good for what little he had. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they were good. I just would have liked to have seen more of them. You know, some of them, more of him, more of Anthony Kerrigan. Of course, you could never have too much Anthony Kerrigan.
I feel like once he like disappeared, that's when the movie started getting a little more, got more boring and stale, and just kind of like, because he just booked it while everybody else was getting killed around him.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Understandable, but yeah, it would have been nice to have him in there. You know, so there's not much to say. Say. I guess we could talk about the other big entertainment news.
How much?
No, the passing of Val Kilmer.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, we could.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like what are some movies you best know him from as?
I mean, obviously,
I mean, Heat, fucking
Yeah.
Heat, man.
Heat,
Mhm.
Heat and
absolutely.
Batman Forever.
Heat, Top Gun Maverick,
Top Gun.
Tombstone. Fucking
Tombstone.
I
Tombstone.
haven't seen
Fucking
Tombstone yet.
Tombstone,
so I
The
can't-
Doors.
Bro,
The
you got
Doors.
Tombstone. Yeah, the
Oh,
Doors.
Doors
Seriously,
amazing,
yeah,
too.
that's underrated.
I
He
haven't
was-
seen the Doors either.
That man became Jim Morrison. Shit.
Yes, exactly.
When I was a kid, that movie, that poster was everywhere from the Doors, and
Yeah.
like,
Really.
Yeah.
that's how I knew it
And
was
he
John.
looks like him. Does it
Yeah.
not, wrong?
Yeah,
He
Yeah.
looks like Jim
Looks
Morrison.
like-
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Jesus Christ, he does. I mean, Val Kilmer, even back in the day, it was always talked about how he was just an insanely talented actor. He was just so demanding as an actor; it was very difficult to work with him. You know, it's like Joel Schumacher famously just refused to work with him again after Batman Forever. You know, so which is why the role had to be recasted again. So I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean,
absolutely.
But
yeah,
yeah,
but I mean, he was a brilliant-
he was awesome in The Doors. Oh, I know another Val Kilmer
Yeah.
movie, Willow.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
Willow's another
Willow.
good one,
My God,
Yeah.
he's great, Willow.
Willow
Yeah,
is
he's great.
awesome.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
just so insanely charismatic in everything he did.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's a rogue, very adaptable too. Dear God, he just lost himself in every single fucking role. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I really liked
Yeah.
him in one of his last roles, McGruger.
hmm.
I don't know if you guys have seen that movie with
Yeah, I've
Will
seen bits and
Forte?
pieces. Very,
That
was
really good.
I've heard it's good though. I've heard it's good.
raunchy dumb, but like Val was he played the role of the evil douchebag villain that people were expecting him to play.
Yeah, and then I mean his last real role in Top Gun Maverick was just it just hits a lot harder now,
Yeah.
but it works, and that was very nice to see. So
It was.
Have you guys seen the documentary Val?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good. I remember when that documentary came out a few years ago. It shows you a lot of like all of the behind the scenes stuff from each movie that he's done. So you get to see some of the stuff he had with him and Schumacher as Batman, and some other stuff he did in other movies. And there's some stuff that people have never seen where how like he's taking his performances seriously and how it pissed off some other people around him and all of that other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he was a brilliant actor. I mean, that was so
He was.
amazingly touching when he came back. I mean, the fact that he built up his strength just to do that role, and he really, really, really wanted to say that line, and it took so much strength for him to do it. Jeez,
Yeah.
to say that line, the world needs Maverick. Just wow.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Mhm.
man.
I remember hearing that he was trying to fight for that role.
Yeah,
Just to get into part Top Gun Maverick, the sequel, because he wasn't going to be back for the second one.
mhm. Yeah, he wanted to come back. He did. I'm glad they did too, because the movie would have been far poorer without him.
I also love the part where he said, like, who's the better pilot?
Yeah, I know.
That was, yeah,
Exactly. It sounds like, let's not push it.
that was a great way to end the scene where we started just to laugh at that moment because
Exactly. Appropriate way to end it too. It's just like, let's not end it. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah,
But he was such an underrated actor. You would think that he would have at least been nominated for like something with Tombstone or The Doors. Like he never was nominated for anything for any of his performances. It was just wild.
yeah, because the Academy is fucking stupid.
Oh,
I mean, a lot of it, honestly-
Meanwhile, they'll pretty much give it to like this. They'll pretty much nominate the same actors again and again and again. Like
I mean,
Yeah.
how many times has Meryl Streep been nominated for an Oscar?
Meryl Streep has
least
probably
12.
deserved those, though. I mean,
Yeah,
dear God,
that's fair.
Meryl Streep was incredible
Yeah.
fucking actress. But I mean, as far as him, honestly, let's be honest, he did some of that to himself because he was very difficult to work with, and he was kind of blacklisted around Hollywood for a while, because
Yes.
I mean, nobody wanted to work with him. So I mean, but I mean, he
Kinda
was
did that, but it's just the thing is, at least like when you're handed that much like greatness and you do that well all
That's
the
true.
time, it's like
Yeah.
that works. Meanwhile, someone like Chevy Chase fucking deserves it because he's not
Oh, yeah.
funny and he's a prick.
Seriously.
So like,
I
you
do
know,
think he's funny, but
absolutely.
he is a prick. He is a massive prick. He's a
Yeah.
prick on a whole nother level, though. Jesus Christ. Whereas Val Kilmer, I've never heard anything good about Val Kilmer from other actors, though. You know, I've never heard other actors.
yeah, when like Jim Carrey he said something nice about his passing.
Yeah.
When he was getting shit on by Tommy Lee Jones. I can't sanction your buffoonery.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Val Kilmer was although apparently Val Kilmer and Joel Schumacher did not work well together.
No.
To the point, I think it was Joel Schumacher said, if Val Kilmer comes back as Batman, I'm not doing the next movie.
Yeah.
So that was how that gives you the
That's-
idea
yeah.
of how
So you gotta be
bad
careful.
Val Kilmer
There
could
is-
be on set.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah,
some
I
scenes
mean-
between him and Schumacher in that Val documentary of him while he was being Batman in that movie, and you can see an idea of just how bad it was.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what? I read an article this week. I posted in the chat. I don't know if you guys saw it, where Michael Biehn was talking about his experiences making Tombstone with Val Kilmer. He said that, he was talking about how he had never really, they didn't really interact a whole lot on the set because, they were enemies in the movie, so I mean, offset, they just never really interacted much, I mean, he talked about how Val and Powers Booth and Kirk would hang out and everything, but he just kind of would, but I mean, he's like he was never rude to him or anything. They just didn't because we had that tension there because they were supposed to be enemies, I mean, so. But I mean, he did have nothing but praise for him as an actor. It said that he had nothing but praise for him as an actor. It said it really forced him, like seeing him and the other guys, like, man, I really got to step up my game here. Imagine Michael fucking Biehn saying, I got to step up my game,
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that is a stat cast. But I mean,
That is.
Yeah, it is. But
I
I mean,
just-
Suck it, Kevin Costner.
I just thought of another I haven't seen
Yes.
this movie, but I remember talking about I remember talking about Val Kilmer movies with my brother Ben because I think this morning he was watching Batman Forever in honor of him, and then we were talking about it, and he brought up I don't know if you guys have seen it, Real Genius.
I've heard of it. but I
Yeah,
don't remember watching it.
that
It was one of
was,
his first early, well-known
Yeah.
roles.
it was.
my,
I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
my coworker was talking about that. She was like, "Oh my god, I
I
love
heard
Real
of it.
Genius. That's my favorite Val Kilmer movie."
Yeah, like it's a lot of people's favorite. I've never seen it myself. That's one of the ones from back in the day that I've obviously never seen. But I mean, I've heard nothing. I know a lot of people my age just love that film.
Yeah. John, do you think he got blacklisted after Batman Forever? Because his career was going real high
Mm-hmm.
before Batman
It's
Forever.
entirely possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, he did do what was it, The Saint?
Saint was-
After
was-
that, he did that
was pretty
instead of
good.
Batman and Robin.
I like the Saint. It wasn't that bad. It was a little slow, but it was a good action movie.
Yeah, I don't. It's entirely possible after Batman. But yeah, because I don't really know of.
Because the studio had to be pissed that he just walked away.
Maybe I would have to see some of his movies that came out after Batman. But maybe it just kind of got to him, and then he never had that renaissance, and then the cancer came in and all that shit, and he never could get that renaissance like Brendan Fraser is kind of getting right now.
Yeah.
Where he never, and then he got stuck as the villain from MacGruber. Nothing against MacGruber, but I don't think Val Kilmer saw himself being in a raunchy SNL movie as the highlight of his career, but that's kind of how it became.
That's what I feel like. He got blacklisted or got shut down from doing a bigger movie with other directors who just couldn't tolerate him anymore.
Yeah. Which is ironic because Batman and Robin caused George Clooney's career to fucking pretty much skyrocket because that proved he could be a leading man. So very ironic.
Yeah.
I mean, Heat was another one. You see Heat. I mean, Heat was another one. Just a stacked cast. Dear God, you have a number of actors.
It seems like the most well known. It seems like the most well known Val Kilmer. I was like, seems like the most well-known Val Kilmer movies all happened like either the late 80s or early 90s.
90s, yeah,
And-
90s. A lot of them happened in the 90s. That was like his peak.
Well, I mean, I think like Willow was that was like late 80s kind of thing,
Willow,
you know?
like late 80s, yeah. Willow. Top Gun was 86 or 87. 86, I want to say.
Yeah.
But
Have you guys seen
The
Prince of
Doors was
Egypt?
91.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
He
about the
he
Prince of
voiced
Egypt.
Moses in
And
Prince of
He was
Egypt. I
also
forgot
in
about
a
that.
Kiss
Good-
Kiss
good-
Bang Bang. That's another
Oh,
one
that's
I
right.
watch.
Yeah.
That's right. Good thing
Oh, man.
Devin's not here, because otherwise he would have killed me for forgetting about Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in one of the two Mars movies that came out in 2000. I think it was the worst one. It was Red Planet, because then the other one was Mission to
That's
Mars.
right. Because I think I did see I can't remember which one it was. Was it Red Planet or was it Mission to Mars? I can't remember. But
Well, the one with Red Planet was the one with Val Kilmer, and then I think it had it had Carrie Ann Moss, Benjamin Bratt, Tom
because I do
Sizemore,
remember
Simon Baker.
seeing Val Kilmer in that movie.
Yeah.
But then again, keep in mind that was like I haven't seen that since I was like in middle school.
Guys,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he got blacklisted after Batman Forever, because he had Heat come out the same year.
Yeah. I'm looking at his.
Although that was the same year. After that, he did the Ghost of the Darkness. I saw that in the theater. That's really good. That's really
And
good.
The other one I remember was
And
Mindhunter.
he also did. I think he did a couple of them that kind of hurt his career. I think The Island of Dr. Moreau infamously hurt his career,
Yeah.
and The Saint, which I think some people like The Saint, but it didn't.
Yeah, I was one of the few who liked it. I mean, I was a kid when I watched it.
Yeah.
But I was looking at his filmography. Like he averaged he averaged like 5 films a year.
Mm-hmm.
So he was working even after Batman Forever. So he wasn't blacklisted.
No, I don't think it was black.
So-
I think it was. I don't think he was blacklisted for. I think Island of Dr. Moreau probably fucking killed his career because that was,
Yep.
that was
Yeah,
amazing.
because after that it gets progressively worse. Whereas it's just like
I mean, he has like a couple like good like movies, but they're like
He
not
was-
like
he did-
classics.
yeah.
Or,
He was in Oliver Stone's Alexander in 2004, which is a great film.
Oh, I forgot. Oh yeah.
But he
I
played
forgot he was
Philip
in-
Macedon. He's very good. He
Yeah.
plays a very good Philip Macedon.
I forgot he was in
Alexander, you said?
Yeah, I forgot he was in
Yeah.
Deja Vu as well. Deja Vu was a good movie with Denzel Washington. Holy shit, I forgot he was in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Deja Vu. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good movie. Yeah, not good movie, but I mean, he was very good in the movie. He personally was very good. Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely wasn't blacklisted if he's working with Denzel Washington.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, maybe not blacklisted, but his just career kind of took a dive after that.
Yeah.
But I do think a lot of some directors I know didn't want to work with him after that. So sadly.
yeah.
But
I wonder if he had financial troubles if he was working that much, every year or
Yeah.
something. Like,
possible. I mean, yeah. I've never seen Prince of Egypt. I'm gonna have to watch it. So
and he voiced Moses, so that
Prince
is
of
a good
Prince of
movie.
Egypt is
Yeah.
awesome. Prince of
Yeah.
Egypt
That's great.
is awesome.
I'm gonna have to rewatch. I'll probably watch it when I rewatch Ten Commandments. I've been meaning to rewatch Ten Commandments. So
Nice.
like that film. So yeah. Yeah.
So how about the Jets?
How about those Jets?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I encourage you guys to check out the documentary Val. I think it's on Amazon Prime. That's a very good documentary
Yeah.
of Val Kilmer. His son, I guess, is the director. He put together a lot of like older footage that Val has cut through all his movies that he's done, and kind of shares behind the scenes his work process. You kind of get to see his whole career in that entire documentary up until that throat cancer situation.
Yep.
It's really, really good.
Shit, I didn't know he was in True Romance. Of course, I haven't seen True Romance.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're too busy talking about the movies he did in the 90s versus some of the movies he did later in 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he played Elvis Presley in the movie. Yeah. True Romance.
Oh, wow.
True Romance. Yeah. And you said he was in Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was in
he
Alexander.
played Alexander's father, Philip of Macedon. Philip II.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. Yep.
The movie that's ironically was also directed by Oliver Stone, who also directed The Doors.
Yep.
Yeah.
But difference is Alexander fucking sucked from what I've heard.
It does.
Visually,
Yeah,
I heard that Alexander is one of those movies. I hear Alexander's one of those movies it is technically for the most part historically accurate, but it fails as a movie from what
Exactly.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because I mean,
I'm one of
how
the few who
you
liked it.
Alexander, this is why you have to separate art from history. This is why I
Right.
keep trying to give history nerds this lesson. They don't want to listen. You have to separate art from history. Sometimes with art, you have to make certain decisions to make it more exciting. So, I mean, because it's hard to be with history, you have to have nuance. You can't have nuance in a 2 to 3 hour film. You just can't. There's only so much nuance you can have. So, I mean,
Yeah.
but
And it also didn't help that I remember hearing a story from that when Oliver Stone was like had the film on him and he was like going through like TSA and shit, and he had the film on him, and I don't think it was like it went through like the process to like make it proper film. It was still in like a dark cage and whatever. And he went through a TSA and he went through the body scan and it wiped everything from that from those dailies. So they had to reshoot like I think like a quarter or half the movie or something like that. I did remember hearing that. I forget how much of it, but it was like a lot of it to the point where they had to reshoot a bunch. So that didn't help matters either. So I think it got like delayed. A lot of production problems with that movie too.
Yeah.
It like almost didn't get made, I think.
I know. I don't know if Mark. I don't know if you watched this, but there's a guy on YouTube called History Buffs. He did a really good video on Alexander, stating like what didn't work about that movie, and just like I don't know if you watch him, but just look it up. It's called just look up History Buffs.
Okay.
On YouTube.
I'll have to check it out. Sounds good. But I mean,
because I think that's a guy that would be up your alley because he talks about movies and pretty much discusses them on how accurate they are to real life.
Yeah. But I mean, it's an example of like, how do you make Alexander the Great boring? I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy conquered, the known world. He conquered the Persian Empire, everything from India to from Greece to India, for crying out loud. Well, his father conquered Greece, and he conquered everything from Turkey to India. So, but including Egypt, for crying out loud. He's a very colorful character. I mean, the dude literally thought of himself as a pharaoh, as a god. He came to think of himself as a god incarnate, as the son of the gods. So, of course, his mother stoked that belief. But anyway, yeah. Alexander the Great is pretty fascinating, and he deserves a better movie.
Agreed.
Yeah, and especially since that cast was so stacked. That's another cast that you have Angelina Jolie, Val Kilmer,
Colin Farrell.
I mean, for crying out loud,
Jared Leto was in it.
Yeah, Jared Leto was in it.
Honka.
Exactly, as his gay lover.
Because remember, everyone is gay.
Pretty much, yeah.
I do think Val Kilmer made a smart move by walking away from Batman after Batman Forever.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, yeah, absolutely.
His career took a hit for it. Yeah.
I'm surprised George Clooney's career.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember like this could be a bullshit thing, but I think he admitted it in an interview. George Clooney said, like, if people go up to him and they say they like, oh yeah, I saw Batman and Robin in the theater, he will give them like $10 as a refund. Like he straight up
That's
is like,
funny.
all right, here. You deserve this.
But he did have good chemistry with Chris O'Donnell. That was one thing I remember
Yeah.
from Batman Forever, was like he added something with Chris O'Donnell in Batman Forever, where you see Clooney and Chris O'Donnell, they just had no chemistry at all. It was very different than what was Batman Forever.
I want a car. Chicks dig the car.
This is why Superman works
Superman
alone.
works.
No, yeah,
not-
because it was a little bit more awkward. But I will say, like, say what you want about either of those movies. Both of those movies had a great Robin costume, whether that was the darker version
Oh yeah,
of the like acrobatic suit or the more Nightwing suit. Bat nipples and all, bat asses and all. Those were both good suits. And I didn't even mind his original Batman suit with like the bronze rather than the yellow. That looked really cool. And I didn't mind the
like that,
sonar
too.
suit either later on in the movie. That was good too.
and I'm still a fan of Joel Schumacher. I mean, I really love the Lost Boys, and I really liked how he rebounded when he did, I think, Phone Booth.
Oh, Phone
Oh
Booth was
yeah, that was
underrated.
speaking of Colin Farrell.
Yeah,
That was
yeah, that
great.
was really
Phone
good.
Booth is fucking great.
Agreed.
It's
He bounced back
underrated.
after that.
Underrated.
I feel like I don't have anything else to add. You guys have anything else you want to add?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, this movie's so
Um,
bad we didn't even want to fucking talk about it.
Don't see
Well, I
don't
like
see Death of a Unicorn.
Go
See,
watch Minecraft,
well,
guys.
okay. According
We're
to
gonna
this guy,
mine. We're gonna craft. So let's Minecraft. An
Don't do
actual
that.
line in the movie.
I mean, you would think in a movie coming from A24, you would trust A24. But
well, I
unfortunately,
mean,
yeah.
even A24 have had some flops.
Yeah.
So they've had some
Wasn't
bad
Bo's
movies.
Afraid
I
A24?
was afraid.
Yes, it was.
Man,
And
you know.
bodies, bodies, bodies. Although some people do like that film.
No, wasn't that Neon? I thought that was Neon.
Well, no,
Was it?
yeah, Buys was A24. I haven't
Oh,
seen it. All I
okay, I
know
thought it
is
was
Devin
Neon.
really.
My bad.
Devin just said it sucked. I think he was the only one that saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the only one that saw it. But I mean, they've had some bad films, but I mean,
Yeah, they
usually
had
more
bad
often
films.
than not they're a hit. But I mean, I always say, anytime you support independent creators, you're going to get some really brilliant stuff, some really bad stuff. So I mean, and
Yeah,
this is one of those things. It's going to be, it's hit or miss. I mean, this same with Letterboxd. It's got a 3.0 on Letterboxd. It's hit or miss. Some people hate it, some people love it. So I mean, so I don't know about love. I mean, the highest scores I've seen have been mostly 3.5, 4 stars. Most others like 1.5, 2 stars, something like that. So, but so
so what's gonna be the next movie we're gonna be reviewing?
Sinners.
Sinners.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be. That's the next review. I'm trying to remember when was that again.
That's
That's
2
a-
weeks from now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because we don't have anything.
Wait a
next
second.
week.
we don't have one next week. Aren't we reviewing What's Called next week?
What is it?
The Analyst.
What?
The Amateur? No,
Yeah.
we don't have the Amateur on the schedule.
Oh, we don't. I thought we were reviewing The Amateur next week. That's why I was dear Lord.
No.
Either way, I want to see that one.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
we're
we
gonna
got-
see it, but I'm just not gonna.
Okay.
We're just not reviewing it.
Oh, so the next one won't be.
I mean,
until-
would we have anything to say about it? So, but
God damn,
We'll see.
Shit. Yeah, I hope so.
I think I'm gonna see it with Ben. So certainly next week. But yeah. But yeah, that's our
Yeah.
next review. It's gonna be Sinners, and that's gonna be hosted by Rome again.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will be.
Rome does not review movies in a day.
I didn't know Hell Summer was coming out. This came out.
Yeah.
Shit, that's
Hell
one
of
I
a
check
Summer and
Hell
Freaky
of a Summer.
Tales. I do want to see at some
Yeah.
point, maybe next week.
I didn't know it came out now. I thought it was coming out in like May or June. Shoot,
Mhm.
definitely seeing that this week.
Yeah.
All right.
But all right, that's gonna do it for us, I guess.
Yep.
See y'all in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Later, guys. Take it
Peace.
easy.
Easy weeks.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
2 weeks.
Bye.
Once again, we have brought light into the world. You're welcome, America. "2 weeks."